They always say the same thing about him. He is such a good boy. His mother says it when he stays quiet. His teachers say it when he never causes trouble. His boss says it when he works late without arguing. Girls say it when he listens for hours. Friends say it when they need a favor. He hears it his whole life. And for a long time he thinks it is a compliment. When he is a kid, being good means sharing, being polite, not talking back, not making life harder for other people. Why cannot you be more like him? Adults say to louder boys, and he hears that. He stores it away. So he learns the rules early. Do not complain. Do not ask for too much. Do not make scenes. Do not be difficult. Be useful. Be easy. Be good. And the problem is, it works. At first, teachers like him. Parents trust him. Relatives praise him. He becomes the boy you can leave alone in a room and not worry about. But nobody tells him something important. A boy who never pushes back becomes a man people push through. In school, the pattern gets stronger. Bro, can you help me with this assignment? His classmate says. Yeah, sure. Can I copy yours? Just this once. You do not mind, right? No, it is fine. He says yes, because saying no feels rude. He says yes because he wants to be liked. He says yes because somewhere inside him, being needed feels like proof that he matters. And when somebody takes advantage of that, he does not even call it taking advantage. He calls it being nice. That is how it starts. Not with a disaster, with 100 tiny surrenders. Then he gets older. Now it is no longer homework. Now it is rides, money, emotional labor, covering shifts, listening to people cry at 1 a.m. or answering every message, being understanding, being mature, being the bigger person. And because he does all of this quietly, people start expecting it. That is the part that breaks him. Goodness given freely becomes obligation in other people's minds. One day, his friend calls. Bro, can you pick me up? My car is messed up. What? Right now? Yeah, man, it will only take 20 minutes. It takes an hour and 15. Then, on the drive back, his friend says, you are a real one, bro. And that line is supposed to pay for everything. The time, the gas, the interruption, the assumption that his life is always movable. Later that week, his boss says, hey, I need someone reliable tonight. He already knows what that means. It means the louder guys will say no, the lazy guys will disappear, and the good boy will stay. Can you do a few extra hours? He hesitates. His boss tilts his head. Come on, I know I can count on you. And there it is again. Not respect, leverage. He says yes. Of course he says yes. Because good boys are not supposed to inconvenience people. By now, he is tired all the time. But it is a clean kind of tired. A socially acceptable tired. The kind that does not make scenes. Then comes the relationship. And this is where the story usually gets ugly. Not because she is evil. Not because he is perfect. But because his whole personality has been trained for quiet self-betray. At first, she likes how attentive he is. You actually listen, she says. You remember things. You are sweet. He almost cannot believe it. His whole life, being good, felt invisible. Now finally, it feels chosen. So he leans in harder. He replies faster. He rearranges his day. He becomes available. He becomes patient. He becomes emotional support with the pulse. And every time something feels off, he tells himself not to overreact. She cancels last minute. It is okay. She forgets his birthday. It is okay. She only calls when she is upset. It is okay. She says, you are too nice. You know that? He laughs a little. Like it is a compliment. Like he has not been dying from it for years. One night, she says, you are the only person who really understands me. That sentence hits him like sunlight. Because men like him survive on small emotional rewards. One line, one thank you, one soft look, one moment of being chosen. And they will build an entire one-sided relationship on top of that. His friend notices before he does. Bro, I am not gonna lie, his friend says. She kind of uses you. He gets defensive immediately. No, she's just going through a lot. Yeah, his friend says. And somehow you are always the one carrying it. He gets quiet. Because deep down, he already knows. But if he admits that, he has to admit something worse. He was not being loved. He was being rewarded for his usefulness. And that is a brutal thing for a good boy to learn. That some people do not love goodness. They love access. Access to your time. Access to your patience. Access to your labor. Access to your forgiveness. Access to your inability to say no without feeling guilty. And the more good you are without boundaries, the more your kindness stops looking like a gift and starts looking like free infrastructure. That is when the resentment begins. Silent resentment. The worst kind, because he still does not know how to speak in real time. He just starts getting colder in private, more tired, more distant, more confused. He lies in bed and thinks, why do I feel angry all the time when I am doing everything right? That is the moment. That is the crack in a whole identity. Because he was never taught that goodness and self-respect are supposed to live together. He was taught goodness first, usefulness second, silence third. Nobody taught him boundaries. Nobody taught him that saying no is not cruelty, that disappointing someone is not abuse, that being kind does not mean being endlessly available. So one day, something small happens. Small things usually do it. His boss asks him to stay late again. Just tonight, the boss says. And for once, something inside him does not collapse into obedience. He looks tired. He sounds tired. He is tired. No, he says. His boss pauses. What? I cannot stay tonight. It is not a speech. Not heroic. Not cinematic. Just one sentence. But to him, it feels like setting a building on fire. The boss's face changes immediately. Not angry. Just disappointed. And good boys are allergic to disappointment. You sure? The boss says. He feels the guilt rise instantly. Hot, familiar, ancient. But this time he sees it. He sees how fast other people reach for guilt when access gets interrupted. Yeah, he says, I am sure. The world does not end. That is the crazy part. Nobody dies. The ceiling does not collapse. He is not arrested for rudeness. He just goes home, shaken, uncomfortable, alive. Then later, the girl calls. She is upset. Again. Needs him. Again. He listens for a minute. Then he says, I cannot do this tonight. Silence. What do you mean? I mean, I cannot be the person you call every time things fall apart. If I only exist for you, when things fall apart. That line does not come from nowhere. It comes from years of swallowed truth finally finding one open door. She gets defensive. So now I am a problem? He almost folds right there, because this is the old trap. If I protect myself, I become the bad guy. But then he hears himself say, no, but I am not doing this like this anymore. More silence. And again, the world does not end. It just changes shape. Some people pull away when they lose unlimited access to you. That hurts, especially if your whole identity was built around being the safe, easy person. But that pain teaches something important. The people who only loved your goodness, when it cost you something, did not love you properly. They loved the version of you with no locks on the door. And that is not goodness. That is vulnerability without protection. So what is the real problem with good boys? It is not that they are good. The world needs good men, calm men, patient men, loyal men, men who care. The problem is when goodness grows without edges, when kindness becomes fear, when patience becomes passivity, when understanding becomes self-abandonment, when being a good boy becomes a full-time job nobody pays for and everybody benefits from. That kind of goodness does not save you. It drains you. And eventually, if you are lucky, you stop calling it goodness. You start calling it what it was. A survival strategy, a way to earn safety, a way to avoid rejection, a way to be acceptable, a way to make sure nobody could accuse you of being hard to love. But grown men cannot live like that forever. At some point, a boy has to learn what nobody taught him. You can be good without being soft prey. You can be kind without being easy to use. You can love people without offering them unlimited access to your nervous system. And when people say, he changed, sometimes that is not a tragedy. Sometimes that is recovery. So yes, the boy is good. But now, for the first time in his life, he is learning how not to disappear inside it.